What is going on, guys? Thank y'all so much for checking in to another video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Rockville Punisher. We're going to do a full review on it. Going to put it through a dB test and a musical RMS test. We're going to see how it does in the real world. Let's get right into it. Okay, so yes, the Rockville Punisher. Now, I know this sub came out a little while ago. I actually bought this right when it first came out, and then my life kind of got crazy, and I just never really got into making a review of it at the time. But we're going to get to it now, better later than never. Now, I do want to say I have watched no other reviews on this sub. I want this to be as unbiased as possible and just unaltered by anybody else's opinion on this sub. So we're going to just do all the normal tests, and we're going to see if Rockville has redeemed themselves in some ways, or if it still seems to have some of the issues that some of the other Rockvilles have. We will see. Well, y'all can see here, first off, we just have our regular cardboard box. Nothing really special there, but let's get into it and see what we got. Okay, first off, we get a cutting template. That is nice. However, it does not have the holes already punched out, so it'd be a little bit of a pain to mark the actual hole. A lot of things, I think, like when American Base or some other companies give you these, it'll have the holes punched out so you can trace it out a whole lot easier. So not super handy, and there's other ways to do it that are better than this anyway, but it's nice they include it, I suppose. We have our Rockville warranty sticker, and it does say it's a 1-year warranty. Now, I will say, back when I had my K9, the original K9 V1 did have an issue on me, and I sent it back to them, and they sent me out a new K9 V2, which actually I still have working in my Subaru now, so they did seem to be pretty good about covering their warranty for me. And this was a couple years ago, before I was doing YouTube or really anything, so very, very cool that they did that. Next up, we have their spec sheet. I'll get that a little closer up so y'all can see it. Of course, 5,600 watts peak, and then 2,800 watts program power, 1,400 watts CES rating. So Rockville's still at it with their weird ratings. Let's take a look over here. We do have a 32.7 of an FS, technically 32.8 if we're gonna round it up. You can see some of the other parameters right there. The sensitivity is 85.3. And it gives you both in series and parallel, because your parameters do change a slight little bit depending on which one you are going with. And then over here it says the X-Max is 28 millimeters in one direction. Now, I'm really not too sure I really believe that. If you have a sub that is 30 millimeters of X-Max, that is really pretty insane. So for this to say 28, there's no way this sub has 20 millimeters of usable X-Max. We'll get into that a little bit later, though. And then on the back, it shows how to wire up just different subs different ways. Here she is, guys. First thing y'all will probably notice, we have a very wide and stocky motor down here. This thing does have some pretty good weight to it. I believe online it says it's like 41 pounds or something like that. I do not have a scale here to test it out. Let's flip it over here so y'all can kind of see. We do have a mid-roll surround with double stitching. A pretty nice feeling cone, has a nice little texture on it, and it's overall pretty stiff. You can bend it if you really try. Very nice dust cap on top, very stiff, and it's really big. It just really sticks out a lot. Coming along here, we do have a cast aluminum basket. We do have pretty nice feeling terminals, but the hole is tiny. I do not like that at all. It would be a huge pain to stick 2 wires in those. The holes are just absolutely tiny. But we do have nice flat leads in here running to the coil. Now, this does have a 3-inch oxygen-free copper coil with the black glue on it, and it's a 3-inch aluminum former. For the coil, we'll get a close-up of that here in a minute. We have a boot over the motor. And then here is our motor. Pretty heavy fellow. I believe it's about a 250 ounce motor. It might be like 240 something. But we have a nice chrome kind of finish on the bottom. We do have center venting and pole venting around here. And then, of course, we have room for more venting up through here. Get y'all a nice close-up look of this thing. Very, very cool texture over here on this cone. And very, very cool texture on the cast aluminum basket as well. I do believe it has a triple spider in there. There are those nice, flat, sewn-in tinsel leads. They do seem to be really nice leads. Plenty of wire for the power going through there. This big old motor. Now, this motor is pretty slim this way, but it's a really wide and stocky motor. And then there's that coil in there. Now, I did say it had the black aluminum glue on it, but I'm just straight up seeing copper color, so don't know why they said black aluminum glue. Maybe they've updated it since I got this sub, but I doubt it. Just sounds like Rockville being Rockville, but we'll see if it withstands that 1400 watt RMS power that it says it has, at least for CEA rating. Pretty stocky fella. Just something a little bit different, whereas the K9 kind of had that just longer look to it. Let y'all look up at this. Yes, sir. Well, overall, it looks all right as far as the build quality. One other thing I noticed is that there is no glue on these screws in here that attach the basket to the motor. Now, I've never ever had one of those screws back out on anything I've had, but normally you would see some glue on at least a little higher end sub, something a little more expensive like this being about 150 bucks. So not sure why they didn't do that there, but again, overall, decently nice parts on this sub. I don't like that this has got the black glue in the voice coil when it clearly does not. Again, maybe in the newer version they updated that, but they definitely don't here. So again, we'll put it through the test and see exactly what it does. But I do really like the cone, the dust cap, and the tinsel leads. So again, we're gonna put it through the test and see what it does. She is in here. It's kind of funny seeing this teeny surround when I'm used to seeing this guy on this sundown. So just kind of funny, but we're gonna get testing this out in a quick second. So we've had this thing in here, letting it break in for several hours now. So let's get to playing some music so y'all can hear it and kind of see it move, and then we'll get to the tests. Alright, time to get into the dB test. Let's see what this thing can do. Now, this box is tuned to like 32 hertz, so tuned super low, not tuned for SPL whatsoever, so keep that in mind. We're not going to get any crazy numbers here, but all my tests I do are tuned to similar to this, so let's just see how it holds up. We have my SPL Lab mini bass meter in the kick, and then we have my SMD AMM1 over here, just so we can see how many watts we put to this thing, and then we're going to be testing it at 40 hertz. Alright, just a little test run, 359 watts. And we got a 136.6. Got it turned up pretty good. Let's try it again. So it was maxing out super bad there, guys. But we put almost 7,000 watts to it, which is just wild. And we got a 143.7. Almost took a 7,000 watt burst. That is pretty cool for a $150 sub. Now, that being said, so long as your sub is broke in, it generally should be able to do a burst like that. No problem. Sometimes if your sub is not broken and you do a burst like that, you'll tear your spider or something like that. But, of course, we had this sub nice and broken in. Let's go on to the RMS test. Now, this guy has 3 different power ratings, which is kind of weird. And one of the reasons Rockville is under so much heat. They have their RMS power rating, which is, of course, a standard rating that you do where you match it up with an amp that does the similar power. And that's what most of your companies like Kicker and whatnot go by. So that's their RMS rating, and that's 1,400 watts. They then give it their own constant power rating, or their own RMS power rating, which they say is 2,800 watts. And then they have their max power rating, which I think was 5,600 watts. And you saw we passed the max power, no problem. But we're going to do a CEA RMS test first. Now, of course, we're going to play music. This is going to be a musical RMS test. So this is not a test tone. Nobody by the sub just leaves it playing on a test tone for a long time. That's kind of a silly way to test it, so we're going to do it musically. The little neighbor dogs are just out there watching. They've been just sitting there hanging out. That's pretty cool. But anyway, let's get into this. Of course, this is Off D's by JID. Got it as close to the CEA RMS power as we can. Let's get to it. Okay, well, made it through the whole song. Actually don't feel any heat on the dust cap or around the sides. The cone itself is actually pretty cool, so that is interesting. Okay, so I run all my tests doing a musical RMS test like that, and this sub made it through that test, at least in comparison with other subs, so not too bad. However, they of course do also say that their rating, not the CEA rating, is 2,800 watts. Now, I think that's ridiculous, but I'm going to play another song, try to keep it above that 2,000 watt range, and we'll just see what it does. I'd hate to smoke this sub, but hey, if that's what it takes to fully test it, that's what we're going to do. Well, at a minute and a half there, I really started to smell it, and through the rest of the song, it was stinking. But surprisingly, it actually did not blow. I was sitting there holding my breath, just waiting for it to go, but it very surprisingly did not go. Now, it did sound pretty bad, had a clunking sound whenever it would hit So I think that's just it maxing out. Anyway, very, very surprised, guys. It made it through a 3-minute song at as close to Rockville's RMS power as I could get it. So I don't know what to say, guys. I am surprised, but hey, it made it through. Well, let's pull this thing out of the box, inspect it, and then we'll wrap up this video. Well, I got it out over here, guys. And it is quite stinky in here. But I didn't really see any smoke. I will say this thing is quite broken in now. But I don't really hear any mechanical noise. The spider didn't tear anywhere around there. Let's look at the coil in there. Don't see any issues with the coil. So that is really, really good. Well, y'all, not really the result I was expecting. I was ready for it to blow at that 28-ish 100-watt RMS test, but it actually made it through. Now, it definitely would have gone after a time. It was stinking pretty bad, and it was just not sounding good at all, but it made it through. So y'all take that as you will. At least on a musical RMS test, it seemed to do okay. I still think it's pretty silly the way they rate their stuff. I can't imagine the thing would have made it much longer, but who knows. But anyway, yeah, guys, that's the Rockville Punisher. Didn't do too bad. Let me know what y'all thought. I was just testing that out like I test out any other sub. So maybe on a few more songs it would have blown, maybe it wouldn't, but that could be true for any other sub out there. So y'all let me know what you think in the comments below. It seemed to sound fine. I'm sure if you have a, box that is spec'd well for it, it'll sound good and you'll be happy with it. So didn't have any weird mechanical noises or anything like that. At least not when I was keeping it at that CEA RMS power. It seemed to do fine when I got it playing louder than that. You could hear it maxing out and you could just hear some mechanical noise, but other than that, seemed to be a decent little sub. Not bad for 150 bucks. All right, well, let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Would you pick up this Rockville, or are you going to spend your 150 bucks on something else? Let me know, and let me know what else as well. Guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. All three of those things help out the channel way more than y'all know. And better my channel does, more stuff I can review for y'all. So please keep it up, guys. I want to thank y'all so much. Well, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Let me know what else you want to see me review. We have some really cool stuff coming up here soon, so stay tuned for that. Y'all have a wonderful day. Keep basing on.